Yo, what's going on, everybody? This is Dylan Talk Sports. My name is Dylan. In today's video, what I wanted to do is I wanted to take a second and just kind of go through the Cleveland Browns defense. For those of you who do not know, I'm a Cleveland Browns fan. And one thing that I wanted to talk about with this team is the defense is the one thing that was kind of holding this team back for the past, I would say, a year or two, maybe 3 years. This past offseason, the Browns got a new defensive coordinator in Jim Schwartz. And the plan is that Jim Schwartz is going to come in here and fix this defense. Well, we're going to kind of go through the stats. We're going to look at Jim Schwartz's past. And we're going to pretty much identify what are the problems and can he fix this defense and make them into a possible top 10, top 5 group. We're going to get into this, so if you're going to enjoy, drop a like. It's appreciated if you do so. And without further ado, let's get into it. So let's go ahead and start off with what exactly went wrong with this defense. For those of you who are not Cleveland Browns fans, you would not have seen, but Cleveland Browns did fire their defensive coordinator, Joe Woods, this last offseason. Now, I want to go ahead and get off the rip because I made plenty of videos on TikTok over the past 2 years about how much I hated this man. Do I think Joe Woods should never be a defensive coordinator ever again? No. In any way am I saying this man should never be a defensive coordinator for any other team? No. I think in some way how he'll be a defensive coordinator once again in another team somehow in the next maybe 5 years. But when it came to Cleveland, it just was never going to work out. Now, why exactly did it not work out? Joe Woods' defense, what he likes to prioritize is he likes to have a lot of DBs, a lot of people in the secondary. He wants to shut down the pass game. He wants to bait people in interceptions. The problem was, when you do that, you're pretty much relying on that front four alone to be rushing. What we had over these past 3 years, we didn't really have that much of a strong front four. Don't get me wrong, if we had an elite front four, like if we had guys, basically put it this way, if our front four was Myles Garrett, TJ Watt, Aaron Donald, and whoever else, maybe Chris Jones, they're all at the front four. If those were the front four with any secondary in the background, that's what Joe Woods wants to have. He wants to have a lot of elite corners and then have some guys up front that can rush the passer. And that defense would have been possible a top 5 defense for Joe Woods. The problem was our front four was ass. Like, the only person on that front four that was doing anything was Myles Garrett. And if you don't believe me, I'll put the link in the description to all the stats that I'm finding here, and I'll even put this one up on screen. When you look at the sacks last year, Myles Garrett had 16. Pretty respectable, right? Who had the second most? Taven Bryant, whatever his name was, with 3 sacks. And you remember that other guy that we signed, Jadeveon Clowney, which I want to go ahead and get this one out of the way since I recently saw he signed with the Ravens. Ravens fans, I see you getting excited. Do you want to know how many sacks Jadeveon Clowney had last year? 2. So moral of the story, our front four was dog shit. And now going back to what I was saying about how this team was prioritizing shutting down the pass, a lot of the times when you shut down completely one side of the ball, you're going to open up something else. And what did it open up? The run game. The run defense did not work at all. I don't even think we had a run defense last year. And the way you know if you had a run defense or not, or at least an elite one, is you look at the tackles for loss when it comes to your players. Usually you want to see at least maybe a couple of players being tackled for loss. We had one player in double digits. Myles Garrett, obviously. He had 18. The next highest player was JOK with 7. Now you had a couple players in there with like 5 and 4s, but that's not going to cut it. I'm going to put another set of stats up on screen from last season, basically all the games that we had last year. And you can see here, looking down where it says defense, and you look at where it says like the passing yards and the rushing yards. The passing yards is supposed to be our strong suit. But there's quite a few games in there where it's like up in the 300s, up in the 250s. Now, obviously, there are some games in there where it's like down in the 90s, the mid 100s, maybe high 100s. That's good. That's what we'd like to see. But then you look at the rush defense in those games. The rush defense, whenever the pass defense is down, the rush yards are just off the chart. I mean, look at the Falcons. Passing yards down, yes. Rushing yards off the charts. Chargers, 238. Ravens, 160. Miami Dolphins, 195. Bills, 171. And then down at the end of the year, Ravens again, 198. Saints, 152. Commanders, 136. Steelers, 144. I'm sorry, but that ain't going to cut it when it comes to a Super Bowl caliber type of defense. Let's go ahead and get away from last year because I'm going to have a panic attack if I have to freak out and think about Joe Woods anymore. Now, when it comes to Jim Schwartz, what exactly is he bringing? I've discussed this in other videos, but basically his defense is like a wide 9 defense is what I've been told. He likes to rush the front four, but he does like the blitz. That's the one thing we've been begging out of Joe Woods for all the years, was that he didn't like to blitz that much, or he would in special occasions where like maybe it was a 3rd and long, or like a random down where it was like he just might surprise you with a blitz. Jim Schwartz, on the other hand, with this kind of style of a front 4 style of defense, especially with his front 7, he's going to line up a linebacker, kind of get to where he's got 5 guys on the front line, not exactly a blitz, but to where he can set it up to where it's going to be 5 guys coming, and it's going to be up to the quarterback to figure out, are they going to come straight? Are they going to move around in there? He wants to get that front line to be complete chaos. The one thing that I am hoping for out of this is, yes, I want to see chaos. Yes, I want to see that line of scrimmage just torn apart by our defensive line going into their offensive lines. But something I want to go ahead and see is, I want to see how they do when it comes to rushing the quarterback, because the problem we had last year, and I've seen it a few times here in the preseason, when we were rushing the quarterback, as always, it looks like the edge rushers, they're going up and around the defensive linemen. They're trying to go up, but then like they're splitting, they're leaving a hole open to where the quarterback can just take off out of there, or the running back can just sit down on the front of the line of scrimmage, easy throw, and we're getting beat by that over and over again. I have seen a lot of people actually saying they are questioning if Jim Schwartz is going to be the right guy, even though we've seen a lot of growth out of this defense over the past like 4 or 5 months. I want to go ahead and just kind of put the stats up on screen. You can take with it what you will, take it with a grain of salt. But looking at the stats of what he's done over the past 20 years of coaching, I mean, he's been with Tennessee for almost a decade. He was with Detroit as a head coach for about 4 or 5 years. And then he bounced over to Philly for about 5 years. Won the Super Bowl in 2017. He was the defensive coordinator at the time. And then he bounced over back to Tennessee for about a year or two. I believe he was the defensive assistant at the time. So it almost seems like he knows what he's doing when it comes to a defense. And we've seen him win a Super Bowl. So, and what I take away from that Philadelphia Super Bowl is they had talent. They actually had some good talent on that squad. Now with this Browns team, once again, they have talent. When you give a defensive coordinator no talent, sure, the defense is going to look shit. But when you have some talent on the team, like Myles Garrett, Zadarius Smith, now Shelby Harris, the linebacker core can be improved, but with those guys, as long as they're developed right, they can be elite. Denzel Ward, Greg Newsome, Juan Thornhill, I'd say Jim Schwartz has plenty of toys to play with down there. So overall, do I think Jim Schwartz will make this into a top 10 defense? Yes. If Myles Garrett keeps playing the way he's playing, if Dalvin Tomlinson turns out with what we think he's going to be after we paid him all that money, Shelby Harris coming in, Zadarius Smith, he loves what Jim Schwartz is doing in this defense. Maybe he'll work out. Now I realize, don't get me wrong, I am saying a lot of ifs this, if that, if this happens. That's a little bit of suspicion, I know. But to be fair, I believe every single team is going into every single year saying, if this happens, if that happens, so we all got to pretty much use that analogy. But other than that, that's all I got to discuss for today's video. Like I said, Jim Schwartz, I think he's going to be a good defensive coordinator for this team. Can he be a great one? We will wait and see, but that's remaining to be seen. But other than that, hopefully you guys did go on to enjoy today's video. Let me know in the comments if you have a different opinion on Jim Schwartz. Do you think he's going to be a bad defensive coordinator? Do you think he's going to be an awesome defensive coordinator? Let me know your opinions down in the comments. If you went on to enjoy today's video, make sure you drop a like. It's always appreciated if you do so. It lets me know that you're enjoying the video that I am posting, or any other video you watch of mine. If you enjoy it, drop a like. If you're enjoying the content that I'm posting here, and you want to stay tuned for any other sports content, whether it be just debating or talking and discussing certain sports topics, news, or anything sports related whenever it comes to the Cleveland sports teams, Guardians, Cavs, Browns, everything news or updates or game-wise whenever it comes to Cleveland sports, or even Ohio State college football, anything in that kind of area of sports, it's going to be here on the channel. So if you're into that kind of stuff, make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell. It's free, it costs nothing. But without further ado, this has been Dylan Talk Sports. Have a great day. Peace.